future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by 360karma.com. Well, today we have on the show straight from Washington State, Eileen Durfee. And then later in the show, we're going to be talking with Harvard graduate and the founder of N-Test Pro, Mandy Stern. First up, please welcome Eileen Durfee.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Eileen. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Loving the sunshine.
I bet. But I'm not too shabby, Washington State. That's pretty beautiful there, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I live in the desert where it's usually warmer, but we had a lot of snow, a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So sunshine is awesome.
Nice. Well, we ordered it up just for you. Yeah. So anyway, you grew up in Washington State, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
I think
from.
I've been there once. It really is beautiful. Was it a cool place to grow up?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the things that you know got you in the work that you're doing now is you were explaining to me. First of all, you grew up in a beautiful place, but not too far from there was a city that was very toxic. Yes.
Yeah, the Hanford Reservation where they had the Manhattan Project. There's a lot of contamination there. It's actually known as the most contaminated place in the Western Hemisphere of the whole world.
Wow, and that's in Washington State.
Yes.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you grew up right near there, and you think that might have been the beginnings of it being toxic things in the environment that were affecting your health.
Well, I think more for my mother and then the children that were born. I mean, they released radiation and killed everybody's thyroid. There's people with more thyroid issues in that area than almost anywhere else.
Yeah. It's hard to believe, as smart as we are, that in our country, our progressive, as we think of it, our progressive country, that things like this could happen. But, you know, it's just like the water in Michigan or Flint, Michigan and things like that. It's hard to believe that we can't foresee problems like that would affect people's health so immensely. But I know your whole life now is geared toward helping people realize how toxicities in our environment are affecting our health and how we deal with that. And I want to talk about your entire journey to where you are today with that. So let's start with your dad owned a motorcycle shop.
Right.
And so you got kind of interested in that and hands-on. So, not many women would be into, fixing motorcycles, riding motorcycles and that type of thing. But you learned and got that from your dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet that was fun.
It was. That's what we had. We didn't have trendy clothes. We always had a new motorcycle, And,
Yeah.
And I didn't have any brothers, and my dad's really mechanical. He's a machinist.
You were the son and daughter.
Yeah.
Hey, that can be fun. And so with that knowledge and having learned that this type of thing from him, you then took that to, you were instrumental in helping build out a nuclear power plant, right? Which is very unusual for a woman.
Yeah, I was in quality assurance, quality control engineering, everything from auditing to statistical analysis. And so, I see blueprints in my mind and, very detail oriented. And so while they were building all these nuclear power plants, in the 80s, I was job shopping around from nuclear power plant to nuclear power plant. And
detail oriented, does that mean you're a Virgo? You a Virgo?
Taurus.
Taurus, okay.
But I was sick, I developed multiple allergies. I mean, I had to rotate the foods that I ate.
So that was back then when you were working in that arena. And then I know after working on the nuclear power plant, you also went into another male-dominated field, which fields aren't male-dominated, but really male-dominated was real estate, because you were building homes and
land development, subdividing land, building homes. I got into actually self-taught AutoCAD, so I'd pick out all the materials. And I at one time was a licensed realtor and work with, clients to customize their homes.
Right. And also, too, along those lines, working in those industries, you were telling me it was tough as a woman. That there was, sexual harassment, and you even said you had, people in that industry that were women had threats. Like, I don't know, you told me some story about they were going to blow up somebody's car or something,
Back before
sounds crazy, but.
Back before they
this
mothballed.
This was in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
In the 80s, yeah.
Back before they mothballed all these construction plants, part of the corruption was day shift would put something in and night shift would rip it out, and it was to make more money because it was cost plus a certain percentage. And if you were an inspector and there was something wrong and they wanted to push it through or whatever, there were literally people that their cars were blown up. They were threatened not to, fail something, and there was mainly just men, super sexual harassment where they're slapping you and all this kind of stuff, and you're trying, and the supervisors didn't do anything about it. But that was back then.
That was then. Laws have been passed now. Back then, I don't even think you could sue for sexual harassment.
It was just, you just had to be tough, and you had to stand your ground and survive.
Yeah, you had to have been a tough cookie to be in those industries, for sure. But the bottom line is after working in those industries, you moved into this invention industry to create products that help people determine how to get toxicities out of their environment that they're breathing or drinking or whatever, right?
Right.
But the first thing you did was you thought it was like food allergies, right? So I know you had told me you had everything from psoriasis to allergies and a lot of different ailments.
Yeah. I, found out
more
about
than your share.
Yeah, I found out about the yeast connection, and then I thought, Candida was a cause for all my illness. So, of course, you do the diet, you do the antifungals, you do all these things. But, you're like
and did that
slave.
Help?
Well, it would relieve some symptoms, but you were still like a prisoner. It's like it really wasn't fixing the problem. It was, increasing the quality of your life, which was a real blessing instead of being on nystatin or ketoconazole or some of these drugs that are really detrimental. And
because I'm doing the Candida diet now, and I have to say, I feel better. If people don't know at home what the Candida diet is, my friend Amber Oak wrote that book, The Candida Diet, and I've been following it since January, which is no wheat, no dairy, and no sugar. And you do feel better. You feel more clarity, more energy. Obviously, the good side effect is you lose weight. And a lot of people do get rid of a lot of their ailments. I know it's helped people that I know have MS and other things. But you're saying it wasn't the end-all, be-all. You felt like there was something more or better.
Right, because I started self-medicating with natural substances. No dairy, so you got to have calcium. So I started taking calcium and magnesium. Well, then I started having rheumatoid joint pain. And my thyroid, I had Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. And when you take that calcium and it doesn't go in the right places, it'll lower thyroid activity. It'll make your cells where it doesn't absorb nutrients. So it was kind of like a catch-22.
You sound like you've investigated this quite thoroughly.
So I came across hair analysis. And,
what is that hair analysis?
It really makes sense to me because it's like if a farmer has a crop and the plants aren't so healthy or it's not producing the produce like it should, he'll pull a soil test to figure out what kind of fertilizer or mineral, to put on it. And, people don't realize you don't put nitrogen on the soil to raise nitrogen in the plant. It releases calcium. But, what do doctors say? Women, you need strong bones, take calcium. There's this interaction.
So what you're saying is, like a farmer, the hair analysis is kind of like if they were to plant in the soil. So it's in the soil of your skin, your head. So you're pulling that to analyze what's going on underneath that. So what's
yeah,
going
it's
on?
like it shows us the circulating effect of all your hormones and minerals and toxins, so we can draw
Where does one have a hair
conclusion.
analysis? That would be like my first question.
Well, I'm a practitioner. I have a diploma in nutritional balancing science, and you can order it online.
Right.
Print out the forms and mail your hair in, and then get your program from me. And
Oh, I see. So this is on your website. They could take a hair out. Don't be pulling my hair out today. Don't be pulling my leg either. So we'll pull a piece of hair out and put it in an envelope and mail it to Go Healthy Next, and you analyze it.
we send it to a licensed
Oh, you send
lab.
it to a lab. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Then we get the results, and then we design a program, and then we can measure. But this
Right.
test, the hair analysis, it's kind of like I know this is a women's show, but the guys, if they can, relate to a motor. Like if you have a race car team, they want to milk as much horsepower and torque out of that motor.
Right.
That's caused the motor to burn the fuel the most efficiently, so it's not burning it too fast or doing it too slow. Well, we got a motor inside of us.
Right.
Our endocrine system is burning our food for cellular energy.
Right.
And 80% of us tested are burning it too slow. We're like
Right.
Granny driving the car in sixth gear going 5 miles an hour.
And it's interesting you said 80% of us. So some people are not affected by needing this regimen, but most people are affected by it. So they take the hair and you give them an analysis of what's going on from that hair sample inside their body, and it tests like what. Does it test what chemicals are in your body or
Well, it tests 21 things.
21?
But
Okay.
the most important indicators are ratios. Like we can tell what's going on with your blood sugar. We can tell the effect of your circulating thyroid hormone.
Right.
Your adrenal hormones, all these things.
Just by your hair.
Just by your hair.
That's fascinating.
There's over 60 different patterns that somebody can have. It's almost like measuring how far down the rabbit hole has this person gone.
Right.
They've got this trend, this trend.
Right.
We can measure all these trends, and it's predictive. So,
And isn't it interesting you were sharing with me that your dad didn't have anything? I mean, he was like really healthy, but you had all the, and your mom, you and your mom had all these symptoms, and so it just one person is like one size doesn't fit all.
oh, we
Yeah.
are so unique.
Yeah.
So unique. And
Yeah.
and we change. Because, like, if you go through a lot of stress,
Yes.
and I mean, it's the 21st century, and so we
Oh,
can.
stress. There's no stress.
So it'll cause your body to dump
Right.
certain minerals. You'll have needs that are different to be supported, just based on what's going on in, your life. I mean, life
Right.
keeps lifing.
Right.
And the awesome thing about the hair analysis is because I've been on detoxification protocols before, and people don't realize, why do you accumulate all this junk? It's like your body has lost the ability because of stress and lack of nutrients and a variety of factors. It can't put the preferred minerals where they need to go. I call them like new car parts. So your body, out of survival mechanism, will grab like a magnet heavy metals and toxins out of the environment, because like lead is really close to calcium. So when we can't put calcium where it needs to go, our body will grab lead. Well, does that cell that has the lead, does that work very well?
Right.
Heck no.
So let me ask you this. You get the hair analysis. It tells you if your thyroid's working right, if your metabolism's right, all these various things. And then what do you do with that information? Like
Yes.
you've created some products
Right.
that help clear or clean our environment, our air and our water. Is that right?
Because our first
Yeah.
line of defense is, okay, let's start eliminating our exposure. That's
Right.
smart.
Yeah.
And, I built homes. Look at the chemicals in the building materials.
Right.
Or
Well,
in-
I know here in Los Angeles, I lived in a building for 10 years, and I had a big sign up that said, the materials in this building could cause cancer. And I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, they know it. They even put up a sign about it. Like, why would we use those materials? I don't even understand that. And there's nothing you can do because it's on almost every building that's in the area. So
Well,
Yeah.
California is a lot more progressive. You know, even the brass plumbing fittings now can't have lead, and there's just all these things that they've, implemented to help protect.
Right.
But there's things you can do. I mean, EPA says that indoor air is 3 to 5 times more toxic than outdoors. And where do we live? 80 to 90% of our days indoors, right?
Right.
So
So did you find that all these things that you had, these allergies, the psoriasis, the various things you had, these different diseases, that they were not so much food related as the chemicals in the air, and that's why you invented these various products to get those chemicals out of the air, these toxins, I guess I should call them, out of your air, out of your water. Was that the point?
We clean the air, we clean the water. It's like taking the straw off the camel's back that's collapsed, because inside my body I was very toxic.
Right.
Things weren't working, so we have to remove the stressors. So that's why it's like a synergistic approach. So let's start breathing pure air, because that's our number one risk of exposure. We breathe every second.
Right. So you created a purifier.
Yes.
And as an inventor, and because you're an engineer, I take it was not a far stretch for you then to move into being an inventor. But and you were telling me you used to just like dream about these. What's the word?
Images.
The image of what it is you saw that needed to be invented, which I find very fascinating. So you saw this purifier and you knew you had to create it. I know we have a picture of it. And you just like keep it on your desk. And what does that purifier do that other purifiers don't? Like what is it?
Well, it can run on an external battery pack that you plug your laptop or your cell phone into, when yours is dead and you're traveling.
Right.
So you can use it anywhere.
Oh.
In my dream, I saw a little tiny air purifier sitting on a tray table in an airplane, and everybody was coughing and hacking and getting sick, but I wasn't, because I had my breathe safe.
Yeah.
So I had a bigger air purifier, and I got a hold of my engineer and said, I want to make a purifier that uses very little power, so it can, work on this battery, and you can take it everywhere.
Little portable one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have a fan.
I saw it in a picture next to the computer, so you can get an idea of how tiny it is.
Yeah. And so it uses 2 watts of power and through a USB. So it can literally, with a wall adapter, work on every voltage in the world.
Oh.
And then I measured, because it doesn't have a fan. It can't pass the CDAR air purifier. So it's really your personal space little air purifier. And so I measured in a lab, because I use it in my sauna, because we put ions back into the sauna equation. And so I wanted to know, how many am I inhaling? Because there's studies where as long as you inhale like 20,000 ions per cubic centimeter, like the size of a sugar cube, your sweat volume will double, your rectal temperature will go up after you get out of the sauna, you won't feel as stressed. I mean, that's all the reasons why we take a sauna, right?
Right.
And so I did the lab tests, and you're going to inhale 3 times as many. And then we started doing testing, and it gets rid of the volatile organic compounds that are emitting out of our carpets and our paints and, coming through our ventilation systems.
So you should probably sleep with this thing next to you.
I do.
Yeah, I bet.
And then because of some of the product reviews that I can't mention because I can't make any medical claims, I sent the device off to get tested again to measure how much oxygen levels were raised.
Yeah, oxygen level, I understand, is like, getting more clean oxygen is like, I've heard people, it's like makes you high. I mean, it gives you such, it invigorates you, gives you energy. It's better than any drug.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, but we don't get enough oxygen.
So in 5 minutes, this little device boosts oxygen 17%.
Wow.
So then that I knew that that's why it's helping so much. Mm-hmm. So, you just lay it on its side. I leave it about a foot from my head while I'm sleeping. I have people that literally carry that with them everywhere they go because it helps them breathe.
Wow, I can see you're on your first date. Well, what is that?
So it's just...
Oh, never mind. It's just my oxygen. Anyway, so other than the oxygen purifier, you also have a sauna that you've created?
Yes.
It looks like a portable sauna that you get inside or something?
Yeah,
I
it's
know
like...
I have a picture of it. Explain that to me.
when you do hair analysis, your body naturally detoxifies. And, you know, people go through detox reactions. Well, I can feel like Superwoman. Well, I'm detoxing in my near-infrared sauna, and that is huge. There's 3 types of saunas. And when I was being trained for using hair analysis, I was told that near-infrared was best. And so I did all the studies. There's like 13 technical reasons why. It's like phototherapy. And light travels at the speed of light. So I created an enclosure that those healing rays just rebombard your body. So you're sweating faster. The ambient air temperature isn't as hot. It's all portable because I was building saunas for people that I knew that had cancer and all this kind of stuff. And I just said, man, we got to take this good idea and make it better, more usable. So I created this sauna fix because you got to get your daily sauna fix. And it's a light fixture that's lightweight. It's only 12 pounds that hangs in this tent that you can assemble without tools in 10 minutes. Then you can use your little breeze safe to double your sweat volume, and you can, you know.
Now tell me all the different ailments that you had that these practices got rid of.
I was what you call a universal reactor in that I became allergic to everything, and that's all kinds of cleaning chemicals and, you know,
Pets? Pets too?
you know, strangely enough, I was never allergic to pets or pollens, but
Right.
it was all any chemicals and foods. Oh my gosh, I had to do the pulse test to figure out what I was allergic to and then not eat the foods within 72 hours.
And now you can pretty much eat whatever you want.
Yes.
Just because you're doing these practices of the oxygen, the purifier, the sauna, and then one other thing you told me about, the third one is
drinking ozonated water.
Ozonated water.
You know, people think ozone is bad, you know, it's, you know, pollution. But it's really 3 singlets of oxygen, and if you make it and take it out of a gas state and convert it to liquid and water and drink it, it's like that O1 breaks off and purifies the water. We're 70% water, right? And then the O2, it boosts our oxygen levels so we can...
Again, boosting oxygen.
Yeah, so we can function. It takes a molecule of oxygen to detoxify. So all these people on these detox diets, they don't remove the reason why their body had to use that junkyard part to survive, and then they don't have enough oxygen.
Right.
And so it's like a
You must have a lot of energy now. All this oxygen.
Yeah, just don't drink ozonated water before going to bed.
Yeah. And you have a little something that they purchase that they can oxygenate their water?
Yes, it's an ozone generator that has a tube that diffuses the gas into the water, and I have several more inventions
on the way.
Molds being made.
So stay tuned, huh?
Yeah.
All of these products that you invent, and people that are feeling, have everything from allergies to, like we said, skin things like psoriasis or
Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism.
All of these things.
You know,
that this may be an answer to that. And isn't that a wonderful thing? That's why I like to put out, not only is it a woman venter, which I'm all about, but that, you know, people are looking for ways to make themselves feel healthier and feel better. I mean, the only way to accomplish our dreams is to feel like we are 100% feeling energetic and have clarity. And so if we're not eating the right things or having the right environment around us, and I understand that some people are more sensitive to their environment than others, and you happen to be one of those people. So these could be the answer to helping some people live a healthier, happier, better, more energetic life. And isn't that a wonderful thing?
And this is what I'm about.
Yeah.
Creating things that are easy to use, that you can take with you, because, you know, we're not always in one place. We can't live in a bubble.
Right.
And that reduces our exposure, because that's going to take the straws off the camel's back. And then no matter whether we're eating organic food or being the most careful that we can, we are living a toxic world, and we need to detoxify continually.
Right.
So I have these awesome products that actually make you feel good while you're doing it to detoxify, and then we got to have the right minerals, because minerals are like the spark plugs of life.
Right.
So when we can have those in our
I love your analogies.
then, you know, we can feel like a superwoman. You know,
Yeah.
I'm 54. I feel better. I've been sick my whole life. I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s.
That's awesome.
And that's just...
I hope we help a lot of people by telling them about your journey and your products, and just making them, educating them about that there are things out there that might be able to help them live a healthier, better life. So thank you for all you're doing. I think it's awesome that you're helping empower women and all people that are wanting to feel better. So thank you so much. You're an amazing woman.
Well, thank you for doing your show,
Oh,
because
thanks.
this is just what you're meant to do.
That I love. All right, we will be right back with Mandy Stern. Stay tuned.